Hi! Today we're going to make a homemade Valentine. First, I guess I want to show you the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So here is an example. I used these different papers. So we're talking about something like this. Pretty simple to make, doesn't require a lot of artistic skill, which is why I like it. It's really good for me. This doesn't have to be a Valentine's card, obviously. You can do birthday, Christmas. All right, first let's talk about the supplies that you're gonna need to do this. Cards! Some paper to decorate your cards with. Something to cut the paper with, something to attach the paper to the card with, and then you might want extra decorative crap. This is obviously a very large collection of stuff, and I started making these years and years ago, so this is a long time accumulation. All you really need is the cards, something to decorate them with. You could use scissors. I'm not going to use scissors for this because I bought this thing because I can't cut straight, and this can, so I'm not going to use these, but you could. And then glue. You don't need any of this stuff, and I may or may not use it. We'll see how it goes. Optionally, you could also have inspiration of finished products. I already showed you one of these. I'll probably be doing this pattern because it's like the last thing that I did. I'll show you some other ones if I can. I actually picked this hobby up from my best friend Jasa, who is so much better at this than I am, and I have tons and tons of her cards that she's made me hanging up in my office. So I'll put some of those in here. You might have a much better visual eye than I do. I really have trouble starting from scratch when I do these, so it's helpful for me to have like a template to follow. So I'm probably just gonna follow this one today. While I'm getting set up here, I will note that I got most of these supplies at AC Moore just because that's the most accessible craft store to me in this town. I prefer Michael's. I just find that they have nicer stuff a lot of the time, but they're like way farther away. This is just scrapbook paper, so it's just paper pads. I like these little square ones because I only need little amounts of paper for these. You can get them AC Moore, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, wherever you buy craft supplies, you can buy these. All right, so since I'm gonna be going off of this example, I'm gonna kind of look for paper that will match this general pattern. So this is going to be a main paper, and then 4 other papers that kind of complement it. I like to do a couple of solid or solid adjacent ones just so it doesn't look too busy, but you know, do whatever you want. I just flipped to this and I was thinking that it might be a good like main paper, but the freaking cartoon people on it are so creepy. Look at that. Look at that guy. I don't like him. All right, so I think I've got my 5 papers that we're going to be using. This one for sort of the main area, and then I like the 4 of these for the stripy bits. This is going to be a little bit more samey than like this one, which has, you know, the pop of green and all that going on. This actually turned out really well. I feel bad that I never sent this to whoever I made it for. Sorry, whomever. All right, I adjusted. I tried to bring you in a little closer so that hopefully you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. All right, so now we get to start cutting stuff. Hooray! Since I have this one that I'm using pretty closely for inspiration, I'm going to like eyeball how big that piece was because I think it worked pretty well. So I'm gonna try to eyeball how much of like how big this piece was. Looks like it was 1 3/4 inches, so like right before the little 2 there. So I'm gonna want to cut my paper so that the piece that I want stops at about this 1 3/4 inches mark to be about the same size as that one was. Cool, cool, cool. All right, and so now I'm gonna turn it around, and the part that I want hopefully will line up pretty well on that 1 3/4 inches mark. And then I'm gonna see how we did. All right, cool. I kind of like that. I like that it's not perfect. There's some stuff cut out. If you make it look a little bit wrong on purpose, then no one can criticize you. So that's my big tip for crafting. So the rest of the stripes are not like totally perfectly the same size. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I am gonna go ahead and plan out which, because like you see here, there are 3 of the green one. So that's the one that gets repeated the most. So I'm gonna pick the one that I think will look the best being repeated that much, and also that will look the best up against it because it kind of borders it. So that's basically as much thought as I'm gonna put into using the other 4 pieces of paper. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and start slicing those. Cool, that works. I just try to make sure it's lined up along the bottom. This cutter doesn't cut perfectly straight anymore because I've had it for too long and I probably need to replace it, but I failed so much at doing my Christmas crafts this year that I felt like, I don't know, I didn't deserve to replace it if I'm not going to use it at all. So there you go. I'm still using this one. It's functional-ish. I love this ampersand paper. It's one of my favorites. This one, because I can see the end, I am lining it up some on these little marks. Not to make it uniform, just to, again, help me try to cut it a little straighter. Actually, I'm now trying to make it ununiform on purpose, so I'm going to move it away from that 1/4 inch mark a little bit. So it's not the exact same size as the last one. You can tell this piece has been well loved and used for a lot of different kinds of things. I'm only going to need a maximum of 3 of these, and I did cut 5 of them because I was doing a really bad job of cutting these straight. I don't know if the glitter is a little bit more slippery. Can you tell that this side is a lot bigger than this side? Womp womp. Okay, so that's all our cutting done. I did cut more of each of these than I'm going to need. First of all, to make sure that I have enough in case these end up being a lot smaller than these ones were, so that if I have to add extra, I'm not like out of paper. And then also just to have a few options, because I want to lay everything out before I start gluing, so I just want to make sure that I have the right sizes of everything. All right, so we're ready to start laying everything out. I just like to have an idea of what I'm doing before I start gluing. Gluing, nice rhyme. You'll notice that there's gonna be, if you're using these paper squares and you're using sort of the regular size card, there's gonna be some extra on one or both sides. After everything is glued, I'm gonna get my slicer back out and trim the sides. So I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna stick stuff wherever it fits for now. So here we go. Can you see me? Yeah. Wait, which eye is it? All right, so here's what we have for our lovely layout. Obviously, this is not perfect. It'll be better when it's glued, in theory. But for this step, I just wanted to make sure that we have just about the right amount of paper, that everything is going to be covered, and that it all looks okay together. So now I'm just going to push everything up, and I'm going to start gluing at the bottom and just work my way from there. Ooh, new glue stick. It's sticky. This is also not my usual brand. I don't actually know what this is. I think it was cheap the last time I was in AC Moore. Michael's probably sells my favorite glue. You know how that goes. All right, the first strip is of course pretty important because it's gonna set the line by which everything else is gonna build off of. So I want to make sure that that edge looks pretty good. We don't have like super noticeable white space. Over here there's some. You get a little bit of leeway with the glue stick so you can kind of, yeah. All right, I like that. I'm happy with that. This one you just kind of nudge up against the last one, praying that everything is close enough to straight, that it's not going to look like a nightmare. I re-glue pretty often because I've had strips come up on me before, and if you lose a strip in the middle of a card, it looks weird and it's hard to correct for it. You have to slide things around on the glue sometimes to get them where you want them. Alright, what a lovely base. Now it's time for the big piece, so we're gonna glue that up. Okay, this is the only piece I'm really gonna be careful with because I really want all of this word wonderful, and I don't really care about what's over here, so I'm actually gonna start from this side, even though I've been starting from the other side. Alright, starting our last 4. I think that I have just a little bit too much space at the top for this piece to cover all of it. I'm gonna eyeball it, but I'm pretty sure, like just a tiny bit of white space. That's really annoying. So now I can make a decision. I can just leave white space there. I could use this and try to find a tiny little piece of red to go up there. But what I'm actually going to do is use this backup strip that I cut, which is quite small. And then I'm pretty sure that either of these red pieces will just pop up on top and finish it off really nicely. All right, that's it. We are just about done. All right, I've been letting this sit to dry a little bit, and I just keep like smushing it to make sure that everything is pretty well glued. Now we're just gonna cut the extra bits off so that everything is nice and card shaped and would fit in an envelope and not look like this monstrosity going on in the back here. So I'm just gonna lift that to make sure I don't catch anything in it. Try to align the ends of the extra bits with the end of the cutter. Look at all those little scraps. All right, do the same thing over here. Cool. All right, and now we're done for real. You have a lovely homemade Valentine that you can write any note you want inside. Hooray! All right, that's all I have for today. Thanks for hanging out. See you next time.